Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And today's episode is all about Halloween, from candy to costumes to makeup. And I use hand movements while I do this, everyone, for no reason because you can't see me.
Yeah, we're trying to cover all the bases for Halloween to kind of give you a better guideline on how to handle this holiday. I don't think a lot of vegan publications really talk about Halloween as much. We focus a lot on the other holidays. So it's kind of nice to talk about the spookiest of Halloweens. I love this holiday because I love seeing little kids in costume. I mean, when they're creative, not if they're all the same thing, which happens frequently. But like last year, I had a girl come to my door in one of those big giant dinosaur costumes,
Yeah.
like it, I saw her running down the street and I got so excited. I was like the little flappy arms, you've seen those videos.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But see, that's funny because
And I was like,
I'll be like, played out. No, kid, try it again.
oh, I
I
loved it.
couldn't
I was
do
like,
it.
you can have all the, and then I saw it was a little girl and I'm like, all the candy, take it all. But if you come to me and you're like in something lame, I don't want to give you as much candy.
I'll,
I
I'll,
guess I'm judgmental.
I'll tell you what. If a kid comes to my door and he has the Charlie Brown at one, but it's just all holes, I'm like, all right, the whole bowl. You get all of it. It's all for you, man. You
It's hard not to
you
be.
win. You went Charlie Brown. Like, I get a rock. You went full on Charlie Brown.
Oh,
Bonus
that'd be
points.
great.
That's a good deep cut. That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, it's hard not to be like, selective about who I give my candy to. I want to give more to the kids with the cool costumes, but I can't be mean. Um, so I love the kids come into my
It's
door. I don't
evolution.
know if I'm really going to do that this
Oh,
year, but we'll
fish.
see how that goes. Um, I love decorating for Halloween. Like I'm slowly creeping out my Halloween decor and I just bought the biggest, craziest skull that lights up and it's amazing. I love decorating for this holiday. It's my favorite part of it.
But see, I don't decorate.
I know you well you're a boy.
What's this? Because it's here's the thing. That's not true. So every season I switch out. Like I have like my wreath in my door switches out between the seasons,
Aw.
and I have little stuff I switch out through the house. But then because if it's like I decorate, then I gotta take it all down. It's just a giant pain in the butt. So I'm like, oh God, if I put up all this crap, then I gotta take it down.
Yeah, but it's so cool to look at.
For
See, I get
yeah,
a
but like
lot
no one
of
like, no one really comes over, especially during the quarantine. So it's like who's gonna see it? Me, and my cats and my dogs. I'm like, forget it.
well, I am planning on having a little Zoom Halloween party
Oh, I'm
and
there.
I'm going to require people to dress up. And when we have it, I want each person, hopefully, if they're not on their desktop, to show me their Halloween decor. Because you never get to see what people decorate their houses like unless they share it. And I want to see what people's stuff looks like. So
I tell you
uh,
what, for mine, I'll show my Animal Crossing island.
there you
All
go.
the spooky stuff I
That's
put
where it's
there.
decorated.
Yeah. Again,
Sure.
I don't know why no one's gonna see it, but
So I love kids in costume. I love decorating, but I also love to dress up. I've been some really weird things, especially as a kid. I was Carrie one year from Stephen King. I just wore a pretty pink prom dress and covered myself in fake blood and scared the crap out of people because I was just, a little teenage girl covered in blood. That's always welcomed at parties. I was also It when the movie first came out back in the day, and I scared the crap out of little kids. That was always fun. Um, and then last year, I was super gross too. I was a nasty little tooth fairy with these very realistic teeth stuck on my little necklace and stuff.
that
So
was
I don't know
cool.
what it is about. I love to dress up as gross, scary characters, but I don't like scary movies. Why is that? That's
I
very
don't.
strange.
I the problem I have with scary movies. I think it's both of us. Neither one of us are really into them, and it's not that I don't like them. It's that I don't get into them
Right.
because it's like, oh, he's behind the door. Like it's not. It's so unrealistic to me. It's hard for me to get
Right.
into it. It either has to be it really for like a scary movie to like get me, it has to be over the top, like
Right.
House of a Thousand Corpses, Three from Hell. What was the Hostel? Is another like crazy one. It has to be just
Right.
so not in your face, but through your face. It has to be just insane. I'm like, oh my god, oh that's crazy. But if it's like I love the classics, but like it's and also I grew up like as a little kid, 5 years old, watching like Freddy and Jason,
Right.
and so
Exactly.
I guess I got desensitized as I got older, and it's like okay.
I
Although
just
if you haven't seen the Valentine movies, I think they're Happy Death Day. That's what
oh
it is.
Lord.
Those are really good. They're
Okay.
fun. They're really fun. We'll have to watch those together. They're really good.
Ugh. I think I have too much anxiety and too much like
I just get
too
bored.
much panic already in my heart. I don't need anything to jump
Is that
out.
why it gets it for you? It's
I
just
think
too
that's what it is.
much.
I think you don't get into it. I get too scared. I get
Yeah,
too freaked out.
yeah.
It's not like I have nightmares or anything weird, but if you're trying to make me jump and I'm already a jumpy person, it doesn't go well for me for some reason. I'm just not a fan.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, yeah, but we don't like to, watch scary movies, but what's the thing we both love about Halloween?
The candy.
The
We love
candy.
the candy. This is why we did this. I did this just to eat candy. That's it. That's it. If I just was like, I mean, I was a chunky kid. Mom had a shop for pants in the husky section back when you could have a husky section, which I'm glad we don't. It's definitely a fat shaming kind of a thing. Um,
So mean.
it was, but mom had a shop in the husky section, and at one point I was like 320 pounds. I lost 150 pounds at one point, and I'm not. So
Amazing.
that's thank you. Um, but there's always the fat kid in me, and the fat kid just
And
loves me some
your
candy.
weakness is
Oh,
candy.
candy, gummy candy. Like
And
that's why I can't. I want to keep candy in the house because if I get candy, it's like it's gone.
which
It's
is
done.
kind of fun for me as I've been your friend for 8 years now, something like
Some
that.
episode one we
And
talked about that. Yeah,
and you're in control of everything, but when it comes to candy, it
I
looks
just
like you
can't.
just lose your shit, and
I
I kind of
can't.
love it.
Even in this before this episode, while we were taste testing, I kept eating candy. I had to throw it in a drawer and close the drawer to get it away from me, or I was going to keep. I would eat candy. Anyone like me who can't handle the sound of chewing
Yeah,
would be freaking out right now because I would be just munching candy in the microphone. And
I love that
I
you had
did
to.
this. I did this for you people.
Yes, it was such a sacrifice,
It is,
such a sacrifice that you had to close it in a drawer and hide it from
but
yourself,
it is.
which you will open immediately after this episode is over, and I
Nah,
know
I can't. I
it.
gotta shut up. Don't tell people what I do.
Yeah. Huh?
Uh huh.
All right. So, speaking of candy, we're going to get into that section here and we'll talk about a bunch of different options for the upcoming holiday. What's cooler? You get to watch scary movies, you get to dress up in weird costumes. Like last year, we were some pretty funny things.
Yeah.
We had a little
I was,
book club where we dressed up,
what were
and
you?
I was a scary tooth fairy with like real looking teeth glued onto a necklace. I mean, I was gross. It was scary.
And what was
And then
I?
you were the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I was a mooterer. I wore a cow outfit and covered my face up like I was a
Like a
killer
robber, I guess.
robber, wore like a mask, and then I had a knife and I was a mooterer.
It was hysterical. Once we all figured out what he was doing,
Yeah, it was just fantastic. It was great.
it was great. So I love holidays like this, where it's just like something so out of the ordinary. I have friends that, of course, watch scary movies throughout the year, but during Halloween, during October to be specific, we all embrace the scary.
Yeah. Even
I love
even I'm dressing up my Animal Crossing island for Halloween right
it. I
now.
love it.
I'll have to show you later.
Okay. I play a little game on my phone, and all of my little things on there are dressed up for
Oh
the
yeah, that's cute.
holidays too. So I love costumes. I love the decorations. Like I'm slowly bringing mine out. It's my thing.
But
But a lot of this holiday centers around candy.
that's what I love.
Favorite
That's my thing.
thing.
Dressing up. We got candy. That's
Absolutely. And so we did a little bit of prepping for this episode, trying to find candy that is technically vegan. And despite the fact that we are, I mean, I say technically just because, but despite the fact that we've both been vegan for many, many years, we encountered some surprises. And I think it's just because I don't really look up candy. Like I just go for the vegan brands. I
Yeah.
don't always just go for a normal brand that just happens to have vegan candy.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of talk about your options when it comes to Halloween candy.
And just for everyone's aware, we're not nothing sponsored. We're not like no, we're not doing it for the clicks or whatever. No, this is I did this episode just to eat candy.
I mean,
But
absolutely.
right, but yeah, this is we're gonna list out candy brands and like that. We're not sponsored or anything like that, so we're not getting kickbacks
I
for
mean,
candy.
if any candy brands want to
I
sponsor
mean,
us,
I'll
that'd
take
be
it. You
cool.
know,
Vegan candy brands.
the average vegans at gmail.com. Shoot some message.
And just so everyone else knows, there will be links in the show notes so you guys can see where we got all this information from and verify for yourself.
Yeah. So the first set, like you were saying, is the candy. They just happens to be vegan. And the I think one main thing about this list is other than it being vegan, bear in mind this first off, candy is not a health food. So you know if you're like it's not I wouldn't if it has fruit juice in it, I wouldn't consider it your fruit intake for the day. But a lot of the surprise candy ones, they have a lot of like dyes and high fructose corn syrups in them. So if that's something that you're concerned about for yourself or for your kids or friends and family, these may not be the best option for you. But if it's something more nostalgic, maybe once a year you kind of bad that one day a year, these are some awesome options for you may not have realized.
And the first one would be one I think we all vegans know. I don't know why I knew this immediately, but Swedish fish, the red ones, the originals,
Yes.
because not the other flavors, but just
Yep.
the original ones, they are vegan and they're actually pretty tasty. They look like they'd taste like old lady candy, but they're really good.
They
Um,
have red dye 40 in them or something. I was like, I just can't do it.
yeah.
But you know, if you can do it, it's your thing. It's your thing.
I wish the other flavors were because they look like they'd be super tasty,
Yeah.
but just the red ones. And we will encounter a few things as we talk that are kind of specific. Then we go into Oreos, which most vegans know are vegan because you get very excited. I think I was vegan for quite a while before I realized that Oreos were something that I could eat.
Yep.
And I literally did a little dance. I was like, yes.
And the Oreos actually are sold in like little like those sold in small packets, so they're great for handing out to kids for Halloween and stuff as well.
And everyone will be excited to get a little packet of Oreos. Red vines. So that's like the version of Twizzlers, but not Twizzlers.
Well, apparently the cherry Twizzlers are as well. I was reading, I think.
Right.
So the base generic general Twizzlers are. But I know, but if you're not a Twizzlers fan, the Red Vines and Red Vines actually has an organic version.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have any of the extra like a lot of the added sugars and a lot of the like added dyes, and it's dyed with like fruit juices and flavor different. So, if you prefer like the more the texture of red vine, they do
I
have an
was just
organic
gonna say
version.
that.
Yeah, they do have an organic version.
I like the texture of red vines more than Twizzlers, so that would be my pick. One of the surprises was Airheads. For some reason, I just assumed it had some kind of like gelatin or something in it like that, but nope, you can have Airheads. Um, Dum Dum lollipops, the little ones. So if you see those at the bank, you can still grab
Yeah,
them.
those are other like a lot. I can't learn how to talk about it on this thing. Uh, if you've listened to episode 1 and 2, you know I can talk quite fast and run my words together. I'm trying to do better. Episode 3, trying to do a little better.
I'm trying to
Um,
stay closer to the mic. We all have things.
we're learning. Everybody, we're learning as we go. But yeah, Oreos and Dum Dums are like the kind of like the OG go to for if you've been vegan
Yes.
for a while. You're like, okay, I can have this.
And then we saw that blow pops are also vegan, which was surprising to
Very
both of us.
surprising. Yeah,
Yes.
I knew because one thing like most of these candies, other than the usually if they're non-vegan, they have like somewhat of weird coloring or something in them, which we'll talk about later. But most candies is just like pressed sugar or
Right.
like sugar goo with some flavoring in it. So yeah, so I figured the coating was, but I was surprised the gum itself was.
I don't know how I feel about the word goo. I don't
I mean,
know if I
if you ever just watch like how candy is made videos, it's really
Yes.
interesting and kind of like I don't want to do that. Yeah,
Sugar goo.
yeah, sugar goo.
Oh man. Speaking of what probably looks like goo, at one point, Jolly Ranchers are vegan.
Dude,
I love them.
green apple John Ranchers.
Yeah, I would.
Oh,
That is the best
I'm
flavor.
sorry for that,
Oh,
guys. I'm
so
watching
glad
The
we're on the
Simpsons
same
again.
page there. Yes. Oh God.
Remember the
I don't know
Jolly
that
Rancher,
anyone
like the
else is.
long ones, the really long thin ones. They're like
I
they're
don't know if
so they're flat and they're long. Okay, if somebody has got to remember this out there, they're the Jolly Ranchers, but they're really thin and they're flat.
okay.
And then and you could just like suck on them, and then they would get like pointy, and you could just like stab your little brothers with them.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
also three boys, so I mean,
I'm an only
we would
child.
torture
So
each other. But yeah, it's like, haha, I got a knife. You're just like walking around.
just walk around trying to figure out how to make knives and
When you
swords out of
when you're
normal
when
things.
it's three boys, and when you're three boys, that's all you do is figure out how to hurt each other. And if
Oh
you can do it with
no.
candy, you got a weapon and a tasty treat.
Well, I bet Christmas was dangerous because you had candy canes. You make those things
Oh,
pointy as
oh yeah,
hell.
we're just stabbing each other. You know.
Okay, glad I have two girls and
We're not
not
voiceless. We can speak for ourselves, so it's okay.
so crazy. Okay, let's go back to our list. Nerds. Delicious. I love nerds.
Thank you.
Um, now and laters, which are very like they're almost like chewy Jolly Ranchers to me sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Pixie sticks, which are literally just sugar.
Sugar and
Ugh,
some
so
flavoring to them, which was
good.
yeah.
Yes. Smarties, which are disgusting. Don't give those to kids.
Oh man, I love Smarties though. And again, that's another OG. That's another OG candy. When you were growing up, we always thought they had flavors. They weren't flavored. But I was
No.
telling you, I would like I would make sandwiches. Like a green one was a lettuce, and like the real one was cheese. And it's okay. It's vegan cheese. That's fine. And I would make like a little sandwich. And go, I need like Smartie sandwiches.
Oh my God.
I didn't have much friends
I
as a
have
little
a
kid.
thing. I separate by color. So if it's, I would like I have to have all the reds
Yeah, you're a
together.
psycho.
Shush it. So that
There's
goes on to Skittles, which is on this list as well. And I separate my Skittles by color. Yeah, get over it. So all the red go together.
I'm starting to
Yeah.
understand why you like murders and like
Oh,
murder shows.
okay.
It's starting to all come together.
We need to clarify that sentence there. I like
Yeah,
true crime
there you
stories. I
go.
don't like murder. That's very specific there, buddy.
But it's human murder, so it's I'm sorry for hitting the mic for everybody out
But
there.
I like to separate my Skittles by color, and then I have to eat them accordingly so they have the same amount. That's my weird issue. But Skittles are vegan. Sour Patch Kids, which I haven't had one of those in a million years. I don't even
Yeah,
remember what they taste like.
they're sour and they're gummy and
Really? That's
they
what
taste
they
like
are?
kids.
All
They taste like if you take
commercials.
children, you dip them in lemon juice and you just eat children. That's what they taste like.
Oh my God, you're such a dork.
I just try to make I'm trying to make people who hear this just laugh the whole time, and I've done my job.
Had our weird commentary about candy.
Yeah, why not?
And then sweet tarts, because I'm a sweet tart. And I don't even like sweet tarts. So
Really? God, I don't know, man.
I'm
That's
not
so
a
good,
fan.
dude. Sweet tarts in my the little round pack. They were like Mentos, but sweet tart.
Oh my
They're
God.
sweet and tart
Yes.
Mentos. They came in the little Mentos looking tubes, man.
They do, yes.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Weird.
It's the original Mentos, sweet tarts. Mentos.
So that is our list. It's a short list. You can find other options absolutely for candy that just happens to be vegan. But
These
some
are
of those you may not have thought were an option to hand out to kids.
and these are
So
options
or
you're more likely to. Sorry, I'm stepping on your toes here.
It's
These are options you may find pretty much. These are the options you'll find pretty much anywhere.
okay.
From a gas station to a Walmart, a Target, a Publix, anywhere like that. They're not really specialized. So if you're in a pinch and you're running around like we gotta get candy for the candy bowl, these are some good go-tos.
Right. Now there are some brands that are vegan that offer vegan candy that isn't like, a name brand that you may know. And now we have a whole list here, and you can find these at Sprouts, Whole Foods, some of them at Publix. I can't really speak to like Kroger or anything like that, or whatever grocery stores near you, but you can definitely look it up if you need to. But these are some, more plant-based brands that have options that you can give out for Halloween or just enjoy yourself while you're sitting at home. Because we just had a little taste test of our own and it was lovely.
Right, and unlike the other ones, these are there's no dyes, there's no added like even it's not really added sugars. Most of the sugars come from the actual fruit themselves or fruit juices and things like that. So there's not a lot of added like fructose corn syrups and things like that, stevia, stuff like that. You may want to you may be trying to avoid for yourself and for your kids.
Yeah, they're definitely more natural flavoring. So they're a little bit less guilty of a pleasure. So let's go through this list. The first brand we're going to mention, we didn't get to taste test tonight, but we have both had, and it's the Coco Mel's brand. They have caramels that are like almost like little caramel Tootsie Rolls that are they're so good. And then they have like it's like a salt, like a salted caramel
Yeah.
flavor one that is to die for. And I'm so sad I
And
didn't get to find any of those to try tonight.
one thing I love about them is they do have multiple flavors. Like you said, the salted caramel one. They have an espresso one. It's really good.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that one's so good. Yeah. And I feel like chocolate. So if you want something that's if you're missing your caramel fix, it's a really good option for you. They have multiple flavors and different coatings and things like that.
And I found those at Whole Foods a few times more than any other
That's
place.
usually where I see them. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next brand is Unreal, and we tried the dark chocolate covered peanuts. They're almost like an M&M. Um, I liked them a lot. David thought they were a little less chocolatey, and I thought they were a little bit more peanut forward, as you would say. Like if you like the taste of a peanut, that's what you're gonna want. Are you making fun of me,
Yeah,
David?
because you're like it's almost like it's
But I
like
mean, it's
dear
so
you want
peanutty.
peanut forward and let's chocolatey. I don't know. It's like all right,
They're
but
softer than normal M&Ms. They're like a little bit less sweet. They're more nutty. So if that's something that you're looking for, you can definitely find a more vegan friendly version of M&Ms with the Unreal brand. Let's see. We have Smart Sweets, which has a bunch of different products. They have gummies, they have, other things. We didn't get to try any of those, but we tried something that's got a very similar brand name, Surf Sweets, which I have never tried before until tonight. Have you tried them before tonight, David?
yeah, I've had them before. Yeah.
Why? Because they're gummies and you're excited.
Oh my god, I love gummy candy.
That's David's weakness. Like,
Oh
if
man.
anyone ever wants to get David to do something, just give him some gummy candy before.
Like what you want? Kill somebody? We're burying the body. What's up?
Totally down.
Were they okay with it? It was an animal, was it? Okay, that's
No.
right.
So tonight we tried the organic fruity bears, almost like a little gummy bear. Now we have to point out that we did go and shop for these, and we looked, and they have other options, the Surf Sweets brand, but they say plant-based on them and not vegan. And when you look, they have gelatin in them. So you have to look for the organic fruity bears. Those are very specific, and they actually say vegan on them. I loved them. I thought they were super sweet, a little bit tart at the end. I really loved the texture. Thought they were great. My little co-host here, perhaps not so much.
Yeah, I felt the sugar granules that are on the outside of them. I felt like those were a little too big. They more I felt like to me it felt like sandpaper in your mouth, like they were gonna grind your teeth down. And they were just too squishy. They were just way too squishy for me. If you have a little one who can't really handle anything that's gummy and gets caught in the teeth, or maybe they're really small and they don't need to they don't have much to chew with yet, that's probably a good option. It's gonna be probably require less chewing than most other like gummies that kind of get gooey and stuck in your teeth, which is kind of like what I like. I like that kind of squishiness to it. But yeah, I would say it's definitely a good option for younger kids. Again, it's a lot sweeter and tartar, but the granules are bigger, so I think it kind of adds that sweet and tartness. But if you want something that's gummy or something you got to chew on, wouldn't be my go-to, but definitely for something who's younger who doesn't need to or can't really like put a lot of chewing into a candy yet.
And we'll mention another gummy snack later on that's a little bit different. So that might be more towards your liking. The next brand is Yum Earth. We tried two different products from them, the organic giggles, which are like Skittles. Kind of cute. Giggles, Skittles. I
Skittles,
don't know why I
Skittles.
love that.
That's a good rhyme.
I
Uh,
like the name, not so sure that I like the candy. I guess it just the texture's a little off for me. Even the flavor's a little I don't know, it just doesn't taste like I don't know, it just didn't grab me. I think I'm more towards a Skittle. Like I can't handle the more natural flavor, but David preferred that. So
I, I felt the flavor was a little more subtle, a little more subdued, more of a natural fruity flavor. I don't know what a fruity flavor is. They were even harder than a Skittle. Skittles tend to be a little softer. These were had much more of a crunch to them. You had to kind of bite down on them. Yeah, I definitely I wouldn't give this one to a younger kid. Definitely something for the older kids. I think if I think like to Meg's point, she's used to that like kind of like smack you in the face, kind of like heavy Skittle
yeah.
quote fruit flavor.
Yeah.
But if you don't want that kind of a sugary punch in the face kind of a feel, then these will be a good option for you. And they're a little harder, probably not good for the smaller kids, but they definitely have a more fruitier, subtle flavor to them, which I like. And I like the texture. The texture to
Yeah.
me was a lot similar. Literally, the texture itself, what you got going, was similar to Skittles, but you don't think you
Hmm.
weren't a big fan of the texture, but it didn't
No,
bother me.
I wasn't. It just threw me off a little bit. But I did like their organic pops or like lollipops. They felt more like a unique flavor. I've had a few of them now. I had one yesterday and today, and I like both of them. It's not just like a artificial strawberry flavor. Like these lollipops taste, more natural to the point where it tastes like it's something completely different. They definitely don't taste artificial at all. I love the texture of them. Um, I think they're a big win. I'm gonna be like sold on these lollipops
Yeah,
for
they're really good.
forever now. They're really good.
I call them suckers. You call them lollipops. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I don't know.
I also like that they're small. Like they're
Yeah.
not like it's not like a commitment.
Yeah, they're a lot smaller. They're easier if you don't want to like have a stick hanging out your mouth the whole time. You can just bite them off. So they're not really hard like something like a blow pop would be. So you
Right.
can just like bite them off the stick and have a little piece of hard candy in your mouth as opposed to like this stick hanging out of your face.
And this is one of the candies that comes in a bag with each lollipop, individually wrapped. So you could buy that bag just like you would any other holiday candy or Halloween candy. And then we have the Amy's brand, which, if you are plant based, you know Amy's for normal food. I had no idea that there was some candy
Yeah.
involved
They have
here.
soups and like pre-made packaged like microwave meals and stuff like that. They also have a really good candy line as well.
Who knew? Not
Yeah.
Megan. I did not know that. So I'm very excited. We tried, oh, I didn't
I
write
have it
it
right
down. We
here. I
tried
got
like
it. I got it. I'm ready to go. Right here in my hand.
thank you. Thank
This
you.
is
I
the
wrote all the other
Amy
ones
the Amy's chocolate and coconut sunny with roasted almonds.
down. Okay. I want you to say how you feel about this first. I love this.
Um, so I felt the chocolate. So basically, these compared to like an almond to a almond joy or a mound. I think this is almond joy because there's almonds in it. Hey,
Yeah.
I made a connection.
There you go.
Uh, but I felt the chocolate was thicker. So it had a little more of a crunch to the coating of it. But there was much more of a coconut flavor as opposed to like Kamika almond joy. You have much more of the chocolate kind of is more of the forward on it. With this one, the coconut is more of the forward, but it wasn't as sweet. So I feel again almond joy or the mounds. I feel that and again it's been so long since I've had these. I've been vegan like 8 years.
I know, right?
But from memory, I remember like that the it being sweeter than coconutty. So there's much more sugar involved. There's a big hit of sugar on it as opposed to the actual natural flavor of the coconut and the almonds with it. It was just like sugar and then it's coconut almonds, but then chocolate. It's more like chocolate, sugar, and then coconut with some almond. And this one's
Yeah,
much more coconut, almond, chocolate, and then there's like a nice even sugary kind of level across all of it.
I agree. It's amazing. I love that it's not just one big old nut in the middle where you don't really taste it till you get to the middle. They're kind of broken up in between the entire bar, which is amazing. You get a little bit of almond in almost every bite, and like David said, it's less of like a sugary mixture. It's like just like a good coconut flavor instead of
It's
like
even.
what did you call it? A coconut sugar goo.
Yeah,
What did we say?
prior to this, yeah, I was like, it's like I should have recorded like behind the scenes because we're just like it's like very much like now, but we're like much more verbose. We got cut like this down. Believe it or not, we're already like gonna be half an hour into this, but just in the candy. Feel free to skip the candy part, I guess, because
We
we did this for
love
the candy,
candy.
folks, and then but yeah, it was less more of a sugary coconut goo and more of like an even flavor all the way through.
And then we have something like very similar that can compare. And these come in like little small bite-sized flavor, bite-sized sizes. That didn't come out
Bite
right.
size sizes.
It's the Ocho. Is that how you would say that? The
Yes.
Ocho brand.
Right.
So they're also like a coconutty chocolate bar, but they're more of a little bite size.
Not to be confused with ESP and Diocho. Someone out there got that, and we're friends. We're friends now.
Um, this is a different experience than the Amy's one we just had. It's like very, very different. I mean, of course, it's both chocolate, both coconut, but it felt like it was a little bit less coconutty for me.
Yeah. It definitely was a lot. It was a lot more chocolate. So if you prefer more of a chocolate with a light, especially if coconut isn't really you enjoy it, but it's not really your favorite flavor when it comes to things like this, I think is a better option because you're gonna get more of a chocolate to it with the kind of like the like the coconut back end. It's almost like you ever get the like the box of chocolates for like Valentine's Day or whatever, and they have the
Yeah.
coconut one that's mostly chocolate, a little bit of coconut in it. It's kind of like this. It's
Yes.
like, oh, there's chocolate, there's some coconut. Okay, right there at the end. It's come with
Very
me. It's more like
subtle.
that. So,
Yeah.
like a
And they
little
come
hint.
in the little sizes again that are very easy to hand out to kids.
Yeah, this is probably
Our
of the two. This is the best for I think for handing out for Halloween because they're bite size. They're bite size sizes.
There you go.
Kind of hinted back at your weirdness.
You did
And
good.
individually wrapped. They're bite size, kind of like they're almost like your fun size kind of.
There
Who
you
decided
go.
that was a fun size?
I have no
Why is
idea,
it bite
but
size?
it's
That's not
fine.
fun size. Fun size is like 3
King
feet.
size.
That's like extra. Nah, king size ain't fun size. I'm not like I want somebody like I'm gonna get stomach ache when I'm done. That's fun size. Fun size is not bite size. Bite size is like really. I'm only getting one.
mean,
That's that.
bite size times 10. And the next brand we're going to talk about is Annie's. And these are sour bunny fruit snacks. So these are a different kind of gummy. We talked about one earlier in this episode. And so this one's a little bit different. The taste is, I feel, a little bit more subtle. It's not as sour as I expected it to be. Like, I thought with the name Sour Bunnies, it was going to be super tart, but it was very subtle, which I actually liked. I didn't want to, make that little weird puckered up face every time I eat one. I hate that.
I was hoping you would. 'Cause it's hilarious.
And David had a good point. He
Yeah.
says the Annies are good for adults and the surf sweets are good for kids, like you said earlier. So
Yeah.
these are definitely more adult version of the fruit snacks, which
Yeah.
we all need adult versions of
Right.
everything.
And yeah, I said to say that because unlike the others, they're a lot more chewy. They're gonna get kind of stuck in the teeth. They require a little bit more of an effort to oh man, I was gonna think of a fancy word. Can't think of it now.
Chew.
Chew. I was gonna go a little more. Use my vocabulary, which completely ran out of me at the last second. But yeah, they're masticate. I think is the word I was looking for.
Ooh, that is a big
Yeah,
word.
easier to masticate.
Look at you.
To chew. But yeah, I would say these are definitely better for like older kids, adults, things like that. The younger kids would have a little more of a tougher issue with them, given the fact that it takes it more to chew and they get stuck in your teeth and things like that.
And then our last brand is my favorite, the Justin's. We did cashew cups, but they also have peanut butter.
And
Don't they have an almond one
Yeah,
as well? I
they have an almond
think.
one as well.
What I like about these is they're so creamy, and the ratio between the chocolate and the cashew peanut butter, whatever butter. I love that ratio. I think it's perfect. It's a good balance of both, and I gravitate towards these. And I hate that they put them right by the register
Oh yeah,
all the
'cause
time.
they know
And
what's
I'm like,
up.
no, 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 don't get them. And but they're right there. I can't say no.
Well, I think, and we had talked about like these are I feel like they compare it to Reese's peanut butter cups essentially,
Mm.
and Reese's is very much you got peanut butter in my chocolate, so that's so it's like there's chocolate with some peanut butter or the nut butter is in there, where Justin's I feel is more the other way around, where you have your much the flavor of the filling that's in it, whether it's cashew, almond, or peanut, is a lot more forward than the chocolate is.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of peanut butter cup options out there,
Oh yeah, there's a
so
bunch
just
out
kind
there.
of
Yeah,
explore. So that's the end of our list of candy brands. We
if you
we know
stuck with
we
us
went a
through
long
this,
time talking about candy,
the 30
but
minutes
listen,
talking about candy, thank you for hanging out. We're continuing with the show.
we still have two more holidays to talk about, and we're not even done with this one.
That's okay.
No, the reason we went so heavy on the candy is because I think it's a subject that you don't really talk about a lot. People always give advice on Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I feel like a lot of people skip over on how to handle the candy aspect of Halloween. That was very confusing to me when I first went vegan. So that's why we wanted to give you some brands that you can gravitate towards or some big name candy that you can grab quickly if you need to. But there are definitely some ingredients to look out for when you are picking your candy option for Halloween.
Yeah, we picked out the four big ones. There's a lot of like little weird things, but your most common ones are going to be dairy, obviously. And the good thing when it comes to like to dairy, is that they have to list that as like a warning contains dairy because it's a very common allergen. But things like whey powder, milk powder, anything that's like whey or a casein, stuff like that, that's dairy based. But you usually, at least when I'm checking packages, the first thing I check is like, contains, because they have to tell you anything that's a
Right.
common allergen. But dairy is your common one. And then there's gelatin. And for those who don't know, gelatin is essentially boiled down hooves and the stuff that holds skin on, things like that.
Oh, Lord.
And it's used to make things gummy and sticky and kind of hold together. So that's another thing to look out for. Like a lot of companies now are actually specifying bovine gelatin or pork gelatin, which it's like, okay, I mean, they should be forward about it, but gelatin's a very common one, especially with anything that's has like a spongy texture to it, anything marshmallowy, or anything like gummy, thing like that. The next would be honey. Honey's a very common sweetener, especially if you're looking at a natural option. And there's a lot. If I put this, if it's not sweetened by sugar, they try to do like a natural sweetener. They're going to typically use honey and egg white. Especially egg white is used as a wash. It also can be used as a thickener, like through taffies and stuff like that. We use egg whites.
And that's something that you'll see in the may contain section as well. You'll see it'll say egg as well as it'll say dairy. So you can check there for that as well. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the issues that may arise when it comes to costumes or makeup when you are creating an outfit for Halloween. So some of the common things to look out for, obviously no feathers, real feathers that is, no silk, leather, wool, and if you buy something that's vintage or something like that for a costume, you have to really look out for things like that. So those common, I don't want to materials, I guess those common materials are ones that you should definitely avoid when you create your costumes for Halloween. When it comes to makeup.
And when it comes to makeup, and I have a list here, and you just set through a candy list, so I'm not going to read word for word for everything. But there is a common red dye that's used with like lipsticks and anything that's going to have that kind of a reddish hue. There is
Eyeshadows too.
eyeshadow is very common. Usually, sometimes it's called a natural red 4, or it's hard for me to say this. Carminic, anything that's coniacal or carminic or carmine, any of that is actually a crushed red beetle that's actually found on cactuses, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But they crush the beetles up and it creates a red dye. Another one is, this is actually kind of, and real quick, what I find funny, all these is most of them have weird names almost to like trick you. I kind of like to not realize it. So this one is guanine. Guanine is bat guano. For anybody who's seen Ace Ventura, guano. or fish scales, and this is usually used in like nail polish and lipsticks to give that shimmery kind of look to it.
Right.
And some companies that have the shimmer, they actually it's usually synthetic. It comes from synthetic or like other like minerals from rocks to get that shimmer into their stuff. Tallow, which is really just an animal fat used in eye makeups, bases, foundations, and lipsticks. Lipsticks have a lot of gotchas you really watch out for.
Yes.
Lanolin, another one I found lipstick. That's just oil from sheep's wool. Anything that has oily or it's kind of like slick, you really got to watch out for lanolin and tallow. And there's also squalene. I love these words. Great
Mm-hmm.
for someone with a stutter too to try to like force themselves through. Which actually is derivative from shark liver,
Oh my
and
goodness.
it's found in lipsticks. Again, that's your gotcha. Lipsticks are going to get lipsticks and nail polish are
Yes.
your big gotchas.
Mm-hmm.
And eye makeup, that's another common one. So I would say if you're looking at lipsticks, nail polish, or anything that's directly for the eyes, really look at your ingredients for that and double check them. You can also use your phone to say is such and such vegan or whatever, and that you're and usually you can find a source that says like this company is or isn't vegan or they have options. And keratin, which is actually what's in our fingernails and our hair,
Yes.
but it's also
Mm-hmm.
from crushed bones, hooves, and feathers, and you find those in nail products and hair products as well.
A lot of hair products.
Yeah,
Yes. Aren't you guys excited that the guy just went through all the makeup
I
stuff?
mean I know what's
I
up.
love that. I love it. Good. I just love that you know all these things. It's wonderful.
That's what I do.
There are some vegan makeup options. And most places will list their ingredients, but there are some big box places like Party City that doesn't list ingredients. I don't think I'd ever put that stuff on my face anyway. Just terrifying because you don't know what's in it. Even if you aren't vegan, you have no idea what you're slathering all over yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
definitely. If you're buying something with no ingredients, you're running a risk of even just like an allergic reaction you not be aware of.
right.
But in Party City, things like that. Not that I'm hating on Party City, I've gone there and
No.
gotten like costume things before. But they tend to kind of have like buy things in mass and put their own packaging and then put them out there for really cheap. Usually, it's extremely cheap. They probably have a multitude of animal products in them you're going to try to avoid anyway.
But there are a lot of just regular everyday makeup products that you can use that are vegan that come from, normal everyday companies. Obviously, you can look everything up and verify for yourself, and we encourage you to because just because a company might have some vegan items, they don't always have all vegan items. So always double check everything you buy. So there are brands like Urban Decay, even Elf, which is a very affordable company, KVD, they all have vegan options. So you can use everyday makeup, the stuff that you as a vegan use nowadays, you can use for your Halloween makeup as well. Just make it a little more intense, a little bit more crazy. Depending on what you're going to be, you could be scary for all I know. But there's also some vegan makeup options. So Manic Panic has a lot of options. There's Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics, Pink Quartz Minerals, and there's a bunch. If you just kind of Google vegan makeup brands, you can find a ton of options. But David has one very, very good point.
That is,
Cruelty free does not mean vegan, and
and vegan means cruelty free.
exactly.
So if you see a package that has a little bunny cruelty free, which is great, that usually means they don't test on animals. There's not animals tested on or using that in that process, but they may have some of these animal byproducts in them. Then they may have other things like even honey and things like that. Anything that's sticky or slick is going to have some of these things in them, especially things that are going on the face to help, like because honey is sometimes used for people to on the skin to give a the smoothness to the skin. So cruelty free doesn't mean vegan, which is a very big trap new vegans fall into. But if it's
Hmm.
vegan, that by definition is cruelty free.
There you go. And we do plan on having a more in-depth kind of beauty makeup episode where we can talk about other options that people can use. But we just want to give you some ideas for Halloween and how you can handle the spookiest of seasons, from your candy options to costumes to
Makeup.
makeup. I think we kind of covered everything. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, or anywhere else you get your podcast fix. Make sure to leave us a review and recommend us to your friends, your family, coworkers, strangers, everyone. Of course, follow us on Instagram at The Average Vegans or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. Show notes, links, and more can be found at theaveragevegans.com. And of course, we want to hear from you. We want to know your vegan story, your favorite vegan treats, your episode suggestions, and if you have any questions about the vegan lifestyle.
Thanks, everybody. We'll
Talk to you next
scare you
time.
later. All right, everyone,
Oh,
have a good
man.
night or a good day.
Bye.
Bye.